Young filmmakers are taught that cinema is a visual language. Juxtaposition, a touch, a look, can transmit complex ideas faster and perhaps more compellingly than exposition or dialogue ever could. It's mise en scène as visual poetry. In 1927, advertising executive Fred R. Barnard famously said, "One picture is worth 10,000 words."
Smile.
And so, one of cinema's most cherished commandments was born: show, don't tell. Filmmakers are urged to enter scenes late, leave early, and keep dialogue sharp, efficient, and minimal.
Leave the gun. Take the cannolis.
So, if a picture is worth 10,000 words, and you multiply that by 24 frames per second, what room is left for language? Is this rule absolute, or has our reverence for visual storytelling blinded us to cinema's other great power, to listen?
What's the most you ever lost on a coin toss?
Sir?
The most you ever lost on a coin toss?
I don't know. I couldn't say.
Call it.
Call it?
Yes.
For what?
Just call it.
Well, we need to know what we're calling it for here.
You need to call it. I can't call it for you. Well, it wouldn't be fair.
I didn't put nothing up.
Yes, you did. You've been putting it up your whole life. You just didn't know it.
To understand where this distaste for longer, more dialogue-driven scenes comes from, you have to go back to Barnard's era, the late 1920s, when sound was first introduced to film. Silent-era pioneers like Eisenstein, Chaplin, and Pudovkin warned that dialogue would dull the medium's visual potency. Sergei Eisenstein, the father of montage, considered sound a regressive force in art. They weren't wrong, at least at first. Early talkies like The Jazz Singer or Hitchcock's Blackmail often resembled film stage plays. Dialogue-heavy scenes played out in locked-off wide shots with actors stiffly planted on fixed sets. The kinetic energy of silent cinema gave way to theatrical inertia. It was a step backward for an art form born from movement. Eventually, the industry adapted. By the 1940s, classical Hollywood found a new rhythm: snappy dialogue, cross-cutting, and economic storytelling.
I have a leopard.
Well, where is the
Right in
leopard?
there.
I don't believe you, Susan.
But you have to believe me.
I've
It's the
been a
absolute
victim of
truth.
your unbridled imagination once more. All the way talking about...
That'll teach you to go around saying things about people.
Susan, you've got to get out of this apartment.
But, David, I can't. I have a lease.
Then television came and compressed everything further. Commercial breaks demanded shorter scenes. Writers trained in TV brought that discipline into film. By the 2000s, research showed average shot lengths had dropped dramatically, and scenes followed suit. Today, screenwriting advice is filled with warnings. No scene over 3 pages. Keep it visual. Show, don't tell. A long dialogue scene is often flagged as indulgent, stagey, or amateur, unless it comes with the stamp of an auteur. But there is something that stage plays and longer scenes allow us to develop: character, subtext, conflict, the elements that make us human and make stories worth telling. As André Bazin said, the image in cinema is not merely what we see, but how long we are allowed to see it, and what we hear can be just as important as what we see.
Merci. Monsieur, à votre famille et à vos vaches, je dis bravo.
Tarantino's Inglourious Basterds famously opens with a 13-page farmhouse scene. An SS officer and a French farmer talk over milk.
Now, if one were to determine what attribute the German people share with a beast,
It would be the cunning and the predatory instinct of a hawk.
But if one were to determine what attributes the Jews share with the beast, it would be that of the rat.
The scene lasts 17 minutes. By conventional standards, it shouldn't work. And yet, it's one of the most riveting openings in modern cinema because it's loaded with subtext, shifting power dynamics, and life or death stakes beneath the politeness.
You shall bring them underneath your floorboards, aren't you?
Yes.
Steve McQueen's Hunger features a 17-minute unbroken shot of two men at a table, IRA hunger striker Bobby Sands and a priest locked in ideological debate.
Have you thought about what you're going to be putting these boys through? I mean, putting aside what's going to happen to these poor men's families. You're going head to head with a British government who clearly despise republicanism, who are unshakable, who can easily live with the deaths of what they call terrorists. And the stakes are much higher this time.
I know that.
And if you're not even willing to negotiate, you're looking for them to capitulate. Is that it?
Right.
So failure means many dead men, families torn apart, and the whole Republican movement demoralized.
Aye. Worst case scenario, it might well mean all that. But short term, out of the ashes,
Come on.
guaranteed there'll be a new generation of men and women, even more resilient, more determined.
Look who you're talking to.
There's a war going on. I thought you might understand. You're talking like a foreigner.
You're talking to me like I'm a foreigner. You think I don't know Northern Ireland? I live here, man.
Then support us.
I supported the first hunger strike on the basis it was a protest.
The intensity doesn't come from editing or score, but from conviction, language, and performance.
That's ridiculous, Bobby. It's destructive.
What's happening here for the last 4 years? The brutality, humiliation, our basic human rights taken away from us. All of this has to come to an end.
Through talking.
So how come you vote not guilty?
Well, there were 11 votes for guilty. It's not easy to raise my hand and send a boy off to die without talking about it first.
Sidney Lumet's 12 Angry Men traps us in a single room with 12 jurors debating a verdict. It's pure dialogue, yet relentlessly cinematic, using framing and blocking to generate suspense.
It's no secret children from slum backgrounds are potential menaces to society. Now, I think...
Brother, you can say that again. The kids who crawl out of these places are real trash. I don't want any part of them, I'm telling you.
Listen, I've lived in a slum all my life.
Wait a minute.
Please, I've played in backyards that were filled with garbage. I mean, maybe you can still smell it on me.
Now listen, Sonny.
Come on now, there's nothing personal
Oh, now
about
there
this.
was something personal.
Come on, fella, he didn't mean you. Let's not be so sensitive.
These films prove a critical point. When dialogue is used not just to inform, but to transform, it becomes visual in its own right. The best long dialogue scenes show us inner landscapes, psychological shifts, and invisible wars. It's ironic that screenwriting clings so tightly to the phrase,
"Brevity is the soul of wit,"
a phrase coined by Polonius in Hamlet, a man famous for his rambling speeches. Shakespeare, who wrote some of the longest and most intricate dialogue in dramatic history, understood something modern screenwriting often forgets. Speech can be a weapon, a mirror, a seduction, a wound. Wit isn't just brevity, it's depth in disguise. So what happens when filmmakers honor that tradition?
Jag är en storartad älskare, Maria.
Ja, hörni, vi kanske hoppar den här frågan. Du då, Marianne, vad säger du?
Vad ska jag säga nu då?
Ingmar Bergman's Scenes from a Marriage is perhaps the ultimate rebuke to the 3-page rule. Each episode revolves around 1 or 2 long scenes, arguments, confessions, reckonings, played almost in real time. Filmed in tight close-ups on 16mm, the camera stares unflinchingly at faces flushed with rage, wet with tears, or frozen in silence. By avoiding montage and letting dialogue unfold naturally, Bergman channels the philosophy of André Bazin. Long takes respect the unity of time and space, allowing truth to emerge through performance.
Du har märken på bröstet.
Jag vet det.
Så taktlöst av dig.
Vet du om min gråa kostym är här eller i stan? Jag har letat efter den.
Ja, den är på kemtvätt.
Så det var ju frajdigt.
Skulle du haft den på resan?
Ja, naturligtvis.
Jag har kvittot om du vill hämta ut den imorgon.
Det hinner jag inte. Jag är upptagen ända till klockan 3 och då är det dags.
Om du vill så kan jag åka in och hämta den åt dig. Jag kan packa din resväska också om du vill. Du är inget bra på det.
Nej, tack.
Audiences across Europe were transfixed. The show became a cultural phenomenon. It showed that two people talking in a room could be more gripping than any chase scene, if the emotions were real and the stakes were human.
Jag har begärt och fått 6 månaders tjänstledighet och dessförinnan har jag 1 månads arbete som jag kan ta med mig dit ner. Ja, det blir väl 7-8 månader minst. Ja, jag tycker lika bra att bryta upp med samma.
Tror du att jag är kvar där när du kommer tillbaka?
Ja, det skiter jag i. Vet du hur länge jag har gått med det här? Kan du gissa det? Ja, inte med det här med Paula, men det här med att jag skulle bryta upp från dig och barnen och hemmet. Kan du gissa det?
Säg det inte.
I 4 år har jag velat bli av med dig.
Inte mer.
Ja, du har det.
And then there's My Dinner with Andre, 1981, Louis Malle's feature-length conversation between two old friends.
Wow, you look terrific. I feel terrible.
Wallace Shawn and Andre Gregory sit at a restaurant and talk for 110 minutes. No flashbacks, no cutaways, just talk.
Was run through these forests, and we came to a kind of tent made of sheets with sheets on the ground, and there were all these naked bodies huddling together for warmth against the cold. Must have been left there for about an hour, and then again, one by one at a time, we were let out. The blindfold was put on, and I felt myself being lowered onto something like a stretcher, and the stretcher was carried a long way very slowly through these forests, and then I felt myself being lowered into the ground. They had, in fact, dug 6 graves 8 feet deep. And then I felt these pieces of wood being put on me. I mean, I cannot tell you, Wally, what I was going through. And then the stretcher was lowered into the grave, and then this wood was put on me, and then my valuables were put on me in my hands, and they'd taken, a kind of sheet or canvas, and they'd stretched it about this much above my head, and then they shoveled dirt into the grave, so that I really had the feeling of being buried alive.
What could have been excruciating becomes hypnotic. The drama isn't visual, it's intellectual. One man defends everyday life, the other seeks transcendent experiences.
Our lives are tough enough as it is. I'm not looking for ways to get rid of the few things that provide relief and comfort. I mean, on the contrary, I'm looking for more comfort because the world is very abrasive. I mean, I'm trying to protect myself because really there are these abrasive beatings to be avoided everywhere you look.
Yeah, but Wally, don't you see that comfort can be dangerous? I mean, you like to be comfortable and I like to be comfortable too, but comfort can lull you into a dangerous tranquility.
As the debate unfolds, we see their vulnerabilities emerge through their words. Critics have applied phenomenological and existential lenses to the film. It explores being, time, meaning, fear, and memory, all through speech. Louis Malle's direction is understated but precise. As the characters grow closer, the camera inches forward, the lighting softens, and the shots tighten. You don't notice the change, but you feel it. This is dialogue as cinematic movement, not of the body, but of the mind.
What does that mean? A wife, a husband, a son. A baby holds your hands, and then suddenly there's this huge man lifting you off the ground, and then he's gone. Where's that son?
By film's end, we understand both men, and maybe ourselves, a little better. While mastery can take many forms. You might look to Edgar Wright's cinematic economy as proof where whip pans and visual gags say more than dialogue ever could. The opposite can also be true. The long dialogue scene is not an indulgence, it's a deliberate choice, a return to cinema's roots, in theater, in literature, refracted through the intimacy of the lens. It challenges the tyranny of efficiency and offers something richer. Interiority, contradiction, humanity.
It's the one job basically any woman can get and make a living on. The reason is because of their tips.
Fuck all that.
And so, no, the 3-page rule is not unbreakable. And the soul of wit? It's not brevity, it's truth. A picture may be worth 10,000 words, but sometimes one word, spoken at the right moment in a room full of silence, is worth more than the picture itself.